So once again, I'm just going to say good morning and thank you for attending the library's presentation on academic writer. My name is Tiffany Miller and I'm the Indigenous Library Liaison here at Confederation College. What a liaison role means is I am just a point of contact for students in the Indigenous Studies programs, but I'm also the liaison for engineering, technology, and trades. In addition to that, I plan a variety of special programming in correlation with the college's Indigenous learning outcomes and in collaboration with Naganoan Student Services. Okay, so let's start today. So you've got a research assignment and you've been told that you need to use this thing called APA style citations to uphold academic integrity in your work. So how do we do that? We're often given books on academic or on APA citations, and sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to navigate the nitty-gritty details. And the best part about Academic Writer is it's an electronic tool that was put out by the American Psychological Association, which is the group that created the APA style formatting. So I'm going to show you how to access Academic Writer. To do that, I'm going to share my screen. Share system audio. So here we go. So first things first, the best way to get to the library website is to log into the portal. So once you log into the portal, you can click on the library webpage. So now that you're here on the library webpage, if you're looking to search for a book, here you can search for articles, you can search for books, you can search for journals, and you can find them here all in the library catalog. Once you find those materials, you're going to need to cite them in your papers. And I'm going to show you how to do that today with Academic Writer. So to access Academic Writer, you're going to go to this Citing and Academic Integrity section of the library webpage. And this is a good page to become familiar with. What it has here is the link to Academic Writer, which is an online tool that the library pays for. And then we have some free tools here, like OWL Purdue. So this is an open source website that you can go to see examples on how to cite using MLA or APA. We also have the Learning Portal, which is another open access tool that was put together by College Libraries Ontario. It has great self-help tutorials and videos on how to start your research, how to write a paper, how to do citation, how to uphold copyright. These are all great things. They even have some sessions on how to evaluate your resources for validity if you're grabbing something off the internet. And then we have a link here to Confederation College's Writing Center. So we have a writing center here on the first floor of the college. It's accessible to students in person or online. There are drop-in sessions and there are booked sessions that you can make to get help with spelling, grammar, starting your research paper. So please know that we're here to help you be successful in school. It doesn't stop with this tutorial or with your teacher. We have all kinds of tools in place to help you be a successful student. So on here, we also have the CS 050 APA guide. So the school has made an APA guide for students that are in the CS 050 program. So you can go and look at that guide there, which is probably also being provided to you by your faculty member. And then on top of that, we have Confederation College's academic integrity policy. It's really good to become familiar with this policy because people maybe don't realize that if you engage in plagiarism, if you do not cite your sources, if you cheat on a test, you could be in an academic violation of the Confederation College academic integrity policy, and you could be put on academic probation for doing so. So the best way to make sure you're not breaking the rules is to know the rules. And then the other thing to do is just to make sure that when you're writing an assignment that you're never using someone else's words and presenting them as your own. And if you are taking words from someone else's work, you're going to do that. And how we do that is by citing sources. So here's Academic Writer. It's an off-site tool. It's available here to Confederation College students. You do need to sign up for an account to use this tool. So I'm going to click on login right now. I already have an account, but for you students at home, you're going to need to create an account. So you can do this with any email you wish. I happen to use my Confederation College email, and then I have a unique password, and hopefully I get this right the first time. Oh, I did. The struggle of the day. So this is Academic Writer. Academic Writer, like I said before, is an online tool for APA citations. So once again, it has a bunch of learning tutorials. But in addition to that, it has a lot of sample references and sample papers. I personally am a visual learner, so I like to see what things look like in order for me to see the patterns in things. So if I want to come here and I want to take a look at a sample paper, I can see what all different types of papers would look like in API style format. So if I was asked to do a book review, I could take a look at this book review right here, and it would show me what it would look like. So what this shows me is that it has a running head here, and that we've got a title page, and these things are in order, and there's an author's note. And then from here, I can see what some sample references might look like in a thing cited in APA. So what does a book look like? A citation for a book. This is what a citation for a book looks like when you fill out all of the information as per APA style. What if I had a map that I wanted to cite? Also kind of strange. How do I cite that? So it looks like someone here used a Google map to create a reference, and this is what it looks like. So how do I know what to put in the right order? A lot of that is in the APA style guide, and it always starts with the author. So the author is your main point of contact. Who created the work? If the author is not a person, then it's sometimes a business. What business published this work? As a faculty member and employee for Confederation College, when I am creating work at work, it is the property of Confederation College. So if I'm publishing something as an employee here, the copyright would then be Confederation College and the year that I published it. So you're often saying who the author is, what year did they publish this work. If there's a publisher, that would be the thing that would go next. And then usually, where did you access that source? And in here at the end, it has the actual access point. So here, this is a PDF. If it was a website, it would be a hyperlink. If it was an ebook, it would be a hyperlink. But you don't need to remember how the examples all work, because the beauty of Academic Writer is that it helps you create references just by filling in a reference sheet. So first I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to my references. So I actually am not just teaching you about this tool, I use this tool. So these are all of the items that I've added to my reference list in the past. And these come from a variety of different sources. Some of them are website. You can see here I have a Twitter feed that I cited. This is a book, an actual book, and you can see I'm citing an actual picture from this book here. And I did all of these by clicking add a reference. So these are all the different types of references that you can add. So when you're doing your research, I tend to add my references as I find the valuable research that I'm going to support my work with. So let's just say I've gone online and I'm using the library resources and I want to cite a journal article. Then I'm going to click here on journal article. And from here, I'm going to create a new record. So starting from the top, you want to fill in as much information as you have access to. And when you're using library resources, I will show you that you can always find all the information that you need to fill out your citations. It's not always clear when you're on the internet grabbing a citation. So I would fill out the last name and then first initial, and then I would go down here and enter the year of publication if no date is available, and then I would click no date. You always want to put the title of the work, and then from there, because this is a journal, you're going to fill in the journal name. If there's a volume, you'll fill that in. If there's an issue, you'll fill that in. And then the other important thing is when you're using an online source, you're always providing your teacher with the URL that you used. This allows them to go back and look at the research that you used to support your paper. Should you want to, you could add in your individual quotations and you can save them. So you can save the quotations that you want to use as you find them. So a lot of the times, you know, when you're doing a research assignment, you set your thesis statement, you're trying to prove a point, and then you're doing research to support the evidence for your point. And as you're reading, you might scan your paper and say, wow, that's a really good idea. This supports my argument. And you're going to use that in your paper as a quotation. So here you could save all of your quotations, and it allows you to even put the page number that you took that quotation from. This keeps your work really, really organized. So it's a really great way to do your work. So I'm just going to go back to my references. Yes, I want to navigate away from here. So because, I'm going to see if I've got one with a quotation down here. So you can see in my things, if I've used this in a paper, there's a number 1 beside it. So you don't necessarily need to save your quotations, but I'll show you why it can be helpful if you do choose to save your quotations. So it doesn't look like I've got an example in here. Anyway, so the next part is, you know, using an example of how I would add a reference to this list. So let's go back to the library catalog. And I want to show you how you can find an article or a book and load it into Academic Writer. So let's just say I am having to do a research paper on residential schools. So from here, I'm going to get all kinds of different site sources that we have in our library collection. So we've got some videos, we have some books, but I want to look for an online example. So these are physical books. If I'm going to cite this physical book, I can actually look at the book and find the bibliographic information, or I can pull it here from the catalog record. So let's just say I came to the library, I took out this book, and I want to use some quotes from this book. The place where I would find the bibliographic information is right here, actually. So here's my author. This is the year he published this book, and this is the title. Another thing I can do is I can actually click on this citation, and it's going to give me a citation right here. But you want to make sure you're looking at the APA citation. Now, the reason why you don't want to just copy and paste the citation is because this is using APA 6th edition, and we've now moved on to the 7th edition. So to make sure that you're entering all the information properly, you want to carry over this information into Academic Writer and add it to your references. So for physical books, you're going to take your bibliographic information from the physical book itself and learn to look at that information, or you're going to take it from here when you're looking in the online catalog. Now I want to show you an example of an ebook, because our ebooks, you can actually download and upload the information to Academic Writer. So let's just say I want to use this book, A Knock on the Door. In order to view this ebook online, I need to click this link right here. So this is going to take me through to the collection where I can read this book. So if I'm going to use this for my research assignment, here it is. If I want to look at the bibliographic information for this book, I can click here on the site. And once again, here I can find the reference for this item. And you're always double checking by using it in Academic Writer, because these are auto-populated by machines. They're not always accurate. But the other thing I can do is I can export this citation. So if I export this, I'm gonna export it in this file called an RIS format. And I'm gonna click save right now, because that's gonna download that to my computer. You can see it down here. So if I go back to Academic Writer and I want to add that reference, instead of typing in all the information, because I'm using the library, I can upload this information. So this book came from EBSCOhost. You can see here in the corner. And if I go back to Academic Writer, I can click EBSCOhost, and I'm going to choose the file, and that was that delivery RIS file. Open it up, hit submit, and it's going to load here. And now view imported records. Voila, it's now in my citation list. Perfect. So from here, if I'm using Microsoft Word to create my essay, and I just want to use this to copy and paste this over into a reference list in Microsoft Word, I can do that. And you could end your use of Academic Writer right here. And I will admit, a lot of the times this is how I use Academic Writer. I'm making a PowerPoint presentation, or I'm writing a report and I want to cite something. It's not a formal paper, but I come in here and I make my citations to make sure that they're proper. But I've also, as a student, used the writing tool. And this writing tool is great. So I'm just going to close through these prompts because it's trying to teach me how to write a paper. So first I'll go to my papers and show you that I've written several papers here. And they were actually for a course that I took here at Confederation College. And you can see the course was called Culture, Language, and the Land. And I will show you how I wrote those papers. So I clicked here and started a new paper. So first it's going to ask you to pick a template. And for the majority of the work that you do here at Confederation College, you're just going to select a basic paper. And from here, you're going to select student assignment. So first things first, it's going to ask you for the title of your paper. So today I'm just going to call this title of my paper, but I mean, obviously your paper would have a proper name. And now I want to start writing. The beauty of this tool is it's going to help me create a title page and then give me an online word processor I can use to write this. So here's my title page. Now I'm going to fill out my course number. So there's a course I'm teaching right now called GE 113. And the course name is The Keys to Success. I'm the professor. So here's my name. Let's just say this assignment is due next week. I'm just putting a arbitrary date in here. Oops. So if my instructor requires that I have a running head, that was that thing on the title, I can click this on here. But if they don't request that, then you don't need it. So now you're going to save. And the next part is to continue to author. So who's the author? Me. You're going to fill in your name here. And if you have an affiliation, like if this was a professional paper, you could write, Confederation College and I work in the library. But for the most part, you just need your name information on your paper. And there you go. Back to the title. I want to save this. Now I'm going to go and start working on my paper right now. So here's where I start writing my paragraph 1. And now we're getting to a point where I want to insert a quote. So this is where I'm going to go to Insert and Find and Cite. So from here, I've got my citation list. So let's just say I'm going to pull on something from this book. So I'm going to click. All right. And now I'm going to hit Cite. And I'm going to say that this is a quotation and I don't have a quotation saved and I want to put it in parentheses, which means I'm copying it word for word. And let's just pretend that on page 4, according to Belcour, she said this. And this is just my example here, right? This is the quote I'm going to put in. I'm going to hit submit. So now it's properly formatted that. So I put in this quote. She said this, and because I had entered my citation properly, it put the in-text citation in for me. It doesn't get easier than that. So let's just pretend, I've finished my whole paper now. I've put in all the quotes that I need to. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export this paper. And the beauty of this is I didn't need to create a reference page because I used Academic Writer and I cited the quotations by adding the references. It's creating a reference list for me and it's formatting it for me. which means I'm not going to sit there using Microsoft Word, banging my head against the wall because I can't figure out the tab indents properly. And I think we've all been there when we're trying to figure out the tab indents properly. So when it comes to the end, you want to, I always recommend that you download your paper because you're now going to submit it to your professor. So if there was something funny and you wanted to download it in a Word document and then open it in Word and then do some formatting stuff, you could do that. Or you can download your paper as a PDF. For the sake of this example, right now, I'm just going to click download paper. And it's going to show you what this paper looks like. And there's not much to this paper because we just put a couple sentences in it. But notice that it generated my title page for me. It automatically put page numbers. I didn't have to worry about generating the page numbers. Here's the body of my essay, which will be as many pages as you want it to be. And at the end, here's my reference list. So if I had written a 5-page paper and every time I inserted a new reference, it adds it to the end to the reference list for me. And I'm done. And now I download it and I submit it to my professor. And the best thing about it is it takes the guessing out of where does this period go? Where does this comma go? I'm worried that I'm not filling in the information properly. When you're using the reference tool in Academic Writer, if you haven't filled out adequate information, it will give you an error message and then tell you what you need to enter. So that is the end of my presentation on how to use Academic Writer. Does anyone have any questions? Wonderful. Okay, so I have saved this. I'm going to save this recording today. I'm going to upload this recording to the library's webpage so that you can review it again after. And please know that if you need any more help using Academic Writer, you can always email me, Tiffany Miller at confederationcollege.ca, and I'm happy to do a one-on-one session with you. And also that you can always book a one-on-one library instruction, and that would be an appointment with me to sit down and help you do research and find those books and articles and all of that stuff that you need to find in the library collection to support your work. Thank you very much and have a great day.